My name is Kira, and I'm going to be your MC today. I'm also the Communications and Events Executive. And I've been joined today by our phenomenal members of the Impact Team. Now, the Impact Team are the ones who design and run our programs. So you'll be getting to hear from them all about different projects and our community, how to apply, and all of that. So, and as I mentioned, Ava is our programs assistant, and she's the wizard behind the scenes about the tech, which is pretty fantastic. So, talking about our welcome and our agenda today. So I'm talking to you now, just introducing everything, but soon I'll be introducing and talking a little bit about social entrepreneurship and Social Entrepreneurs Ireland. Haley's going to tell you about the Ideas Academy and the Impact Program. Bruno's going to tell you about how to apply. And Sophie's going to be talking about our alumni stories and our community. Before you'll come back to me as your MC, we'll talk about next steps. And then we have time for that Q&A with the SEI team and our amazing alumni. Now, I keep mentioning our alumni, but I haven't told you who they are. They are Rosemary Kennedy of Dignity Partnership and Alma Jordan of AgriKids. And I think Alma's already been in the chat to say hi. They are absolutely phenomenal, and it is such a pleasure for them to be here today. For me, they're always wonderful to hear from. So I will say quite sincerely, a real treat for you. But you first are here about what is social entrepreneurship, and that's the reason you're here. So that's a question we get a lot, and it maybe is a word that people wouldn't immediately self-identify as. And when people ask, we found over the past 16 years as an organization that social entrepreneurs usually have three key characteristics, or kind of three things that pull them all together. And the first is a really unique insight into a social problem. So that might be because of their lived experience, or it might be because they've seen something in their community or in their family. They're people who not only have seen a social problem, but they really understand it. They understand the reasons that it's happening. They understand how it really affects people in that first moment, and then have what the repercussions are. And they kind of understand it on a deep, fundamental level. And on top of that, they also have an idea that has the potential to solve a social problem. So they've seen a problem, they've really understood it, and they've said, I think I have an idea that might stop this completely, it might mitigate it, it might do something to help, and I think this works. But then that third key thing is that ability and commitment to carry out their idea or their solution. So they've seen the social problem, they've understood it, they've got an idea, but it's more than that. They have that real bone, gut deep thing of saying, there's a problem here and I'm going to fix it, or I'm going to try. So they're that person at the center of that ring. Now, what we would say as Social Entrepreneurs Ireland is that there are social entrepreneurs all over the country and in every community, because fundamentally, social entrepreneurs are just people. They're almost certainly on this call. You definitely know them. They are people who take action and have courage and insight, ambition and compassion, and want to make their communities better. Now, to bring that in more, maybe an example that is always helpful, I think, Katrina Waters-Cretton, who is the founder of Prepare Me. She was also on our Ideas Academy and our Impact Program. You might have actually seen Katrina on Changing Ireland, My Big Idea, which was an RTE1 docuseries that we helped run. Actually, this time last year, first episode would have just been coming out last year. So Katrina is a social worker or a care worker who had 20 years of experience, mostly working with children and adults with additional needs. And what she was finding was that young people and adults who had additional needs were often finding situations that perhaps you and I would find relatively simple, like going to the doctor, getting a haircut, very traumatic, because they weren't being given information in an understandable way. So even though they might be at the center of that situation, no one was actually telling them what was happening or why it was happening. So that was her understanding as someone who was working with children with additional needs. And it wasn't that these people or these kids or these young people couldn't understand, it's that that information wasn't being presented to them in the right way. So her idea was, okay, so we change the way that we're talking about them and talking to them. and mostly presenting in more visual ways and kind of breaking down those steps from the very small first one all the way up. Now, I think actually in the new COVID world, I think we've probably all experienced that. It's all well and good to know, you have to stand 2 meters apart, but having that space on the ground or that little sticker on the ground to tell you exactly where to stand really helps. So Katrina had this insight, she had this idea, and then she also was thinking, God, there really should be a pack of resources or a place everyone can go to really be able to access this. And if there's not, I'm going to create one. So she also had the ability and commitment to carry out her idea and solution. And she she certainly didn't describe herself as a social entrepreneur when she first came on the Ideas Academy, but she does now. And I think part of that is because we as an organization are able to say, we've worked with social entrepreneurs for 16 years and you are. Which brings me quite neatly onto who are we? Who's Social Entrepreneurs Ireland? So on a really basic level, we're a not-for-profit organization that finds and supports people with ideas to solve social problems across the entire island. And just to note, we are an all-island organization. And for those people, we help support them from when they very first have their idea all the way up to when that idea is having a transformative impact on the way that Ireland is addressing that problem. So a really good example maybe of that would be Food Cloud. So Food Cloud, you probably all know, but they take food that would be unused or wasted and through their app and through their kind of connections are able to bring it to people who are hungry. Now, Food Cloud maybe aren't stopping all food waste, but they are making sure that people are fed, and they have a hugely transformative impact on Ireland and the way that we address food waste and the way that we're addressing food poverty. Some of our other alumni that you might know, maybe from Changing Ireland, that documentary I mentioned, or just from your own community, Irish Men's Sheds, who are literally in every community across Ireland. Some of your daughters, your nieces, your sisters might be at the Shine Festival that's going on today with the Shona Project. You might be growing your own food as part of GIY. So part of the reason I wanted to show this breadth of alumni was to also show that SEI, ourselves, we don't prescribe any particular problem that you have to solve. It doesn't just have to focus on the climate emergency. It doesn't have to focus on homelessness. We know that there are lots of people with a really unique insight into a social problem that maybe we wouldn't see. So like I mentioned Katrina before, it's her experience of 20 years as a care worker that allowed her to see the problem. So almost certainly, in fact, certainly, there are people on this call where you have that insight, you have that knowledge about what's a social problem. And maybe no one else can see it, but you can, and that's always valuable. And what we really want to find, our vision is an Ireland where people solve every social problem, and our mission is to help find them. So how do we help them? How do we find them? Well, we have three strategic pillars that we work through. And these are kind of 3 key inflection points of the journey. And I'm going to stop sharing my screen now so I can see you all a little bit more, or see myself at least. So those 3 stages, that step, leap, and soar, are the 3 ways that we really try and interact and kind of help social entrepreneurs on their journey. And that step stage is that first step. And we're kind of all taking it today on the Spark session as part of it, but our Ideas Academy is as well. Then people take those first steps, and then they kind of we help them leap over the hurdles that they're finding. Maybe it's helping get funding, maybe it's mentorship, maybe it's support there. And finally, we help them soar to grow their organization and have a national impact. But for the purposes of today, we're going to be really focusing on that Ideas Academy and Impact Program, the step and leap stages. And on that, I think it's a really good time for me to pass over to my colleague, Haley, who can tell us a little bit more about those programs and give you a bit more in-depth information there. So thanks so much, Haley, and thanks for your time, guys.
Thank you, Ciara, and welcome everyone to the Spark session. My name is Haley Cleghallen, and I'm the Programs Executive at Social Entrepreneurs Ireland. And it is great to see so many people in the chat from all across Ireland. It's fantastic to see so many people here. So thank you for taking the time out of your day to join us. I am going to share my screen now, so hopefully this will all go to plan. Just bear with me for a moment. So Ciara gave us a great overview there of the characteristics of a social entrepreneur, our vision and mission at SCI, the STEP, LEAP and SOAR stages, and some examples of organisations that we have worked with or who we continue to support. So hopefully now you have a clearer understanding or a better picture of social entrepreneurship and why SCI exists. But I'm sure many of you are on the call today because you have an idea and you might be wondering now, how can I get this idea off the ground? Or how can I be the next Food Cloud or GIY? And how can SCI potentially support me to do this? So if you are asking yourselves those questions, hopefully over the next 10 minutes or so, I will be able to answer some of them for you. I'm going to give a brief overview of the two programs we're accepting applications for, the Ideas Academy and the Impact Programme. So I will start with the Ideas Academy. As Ciara said, this falls under the STEP stage. It's part of taking the first step, and it's for people with an innovative, early stage idea to solve a social problem. What do we mean by early stage? Well, for some people, it might be that your idea is simply just an idea in your head or on paper. You might never have actually spoken to it about it to anyone before. Or for some people, you might be doing some initial research into the problem area and how your idea could fit into it and solve the problem. Or you might be already out there and testing your idea with the people you want to solve the problem for. And the program is designed to meet people in those early stages. So your idea does not have to be perfect at this stage. You will be supported through the program to develop your idea and to refine it. This is our 5th year running the Ideas Academy, and since 2017 we have supported just shy of 150 projects through the program. And this year we are delighted to have another 60 places available on the program, which will be made up of 2 groups of 15 in the East, a group of 15 in the South, and a group of 15 in the West. But I should say, as Ciara mentioned, we are an all-island organisation. So the program is open to people across the island of Ireland, as long as your solution is to solve a problem on the island of Ireland. It's a 3-month program, and over those 3 months, you will receive training and support in key areas to help you deepen your understanding of the problem you've identified, to refine your solution, to equip yourself with some of the skills and knowledge and tools that you need to pilot the program, and to better articulate your idea and the problem, and finally then to set up and roll out your idea. So apart from that, we have a number of supports available on the program as well. And we know that it can be lonely as a social entrepreneur. So we place a lot of emphasis on the community of social entrepreneurs at the Ideas Academy stage. So everyone on the program will have a peer learning group, which is a small group that you can check in with along the program to share successes or challenges, to give each other support and connect with other people. And we find that it's a really valuable resource for people on the program. There's also opportunities to check in with the SCI team, and we can signpost you to other supports or act as a sounding board if you're having challenges, or for you to share successes with us as well. There will also be a bursary on the program. So we have €400 for each project to supplement any costs that you might incur while you are taking part in the program. So that care costs, it might be to cover some time off work you need to take, or maybe internet costs, as the program this year is going to be run online. So we adapted the program last year to be delivered online due to the COVID-19 pandemic, and it went really, really well. There on the screen of one of our sessions, with last year's group. We will review restrictions if there's any opportunity to have an in-person element to the programme towards the end of the programme. We will consider that and make a decision that is best on health and safety and accessibility grounds. But we will let people know during the course of the programme if that is possible. And finally, at the end of the programme, there is an opportunity to apply to pitch for some seed funding. So we have a total pot of €50,000 available on the programme this year. So all that is to say that we hope that the programme will help you move from idea to action, to increase your network, to grow in confidence as a social entrepreneur, and to gain some insight into the social entrepreneur journey. So I'll move on then to the impact programme. And as Ciara said again, this falls under the LEAP stage, next stage along the journey, and it's for high potential social entrepreneurs who are looking to grow their impact. So again, we're looking for those 3 core characteristics that Ciara mentioned: the insight into the problem, an innovative solution to solve it, and the ability and commitment to act on the solution, act on the idea. But at this stage, the solution should be past the kind of research or ideation stage, and you should be doing some amount of piloting or testing, or you might already be rolling out the solution. And there should be some evidence of impact or indicators that the solution is having a positive impact on the problem that you've identified. But again, what we're really looking for at this stage is for social entrepreneurs who are really committed to rolling out this solution, and they're looking to take that next leap of faith so that they can grow their impact. And many of the examples Ciara shared earlier have taken part in the impact programme in the past. So for example, Food Cloud were on the impact programme in 2014, and that started as a very small idea between 2 college students at the time to do something about food waste. And since then, they've gone on to redistribute 100 million meals that would otherwise have gone to waste, which is an incredible number and a real testament to the impact they are having. Another example would be As I Am, which started as an online platform for the autism community in Ireland and is now Ireland's national autism charity. So again, both organisations who have gone on to become really well-known organisations in Ireland who have an incredible impact on the problems that they've identified through their solutions. The programme itself then is a 9-month accelerator programme, and we have 5 places available on the programme this year. A place on the programme is worth around €40,000 for each project that's selected. So there is €20,000 in direct unrestricted funding available, and then the training and support you receive is worth in and around another €20,000 for each project. So it is a kind of a more intensive and wide-ranging, maybe more bespoke programme compared to the Ideas Academy. And the type of training and support you get on this programme will be more of a mix of mentorship and training and consultancy in areas like leadership development, fundraising, governance, strategic planning, and communications. And there's also an opportunity to avail of some pro bono support from some of our partner organisations, which will ensure that you get the best professional services and supports that you need at no cost or at low cost. So again, all really important areas that social entrepreneurs and their organisations need to build capacity in so that they can grow their impact and expand their reach. And finally, at the end of the programme, those who complete the impact programme have become part of our SCI community and can avail of the different supports and events and trainings that our community programme offer so that we can continue to walk along the journey with you as your impact continues to grow. And again, like the Ideas Academy, due to COVID-19, we expect that the impact programme will primarily be delivered online, but if there is an opportunity for some in-person elements, they will be offered if and when it is safe to do so. And finally then, so that's just a really brief overview of the impact programme. and the Ideas Academy. There is more information on our website, and we have some application guides that go through in more detail some of the specifics of the programs and also some frequently asked questions. So if you haven't had a look at them yet, I would really recommend you do so. But there's also the Q&A session at the end that Ciara mentioned. So please do come along and ask some questions. If anything I've covered isn't clear, or if I haven't mentioned something that you have a question about, it would be great to hear from you. And just to kind of emphasize, I'm going to hand over to Bruno now in a minute, but he'll go into the specifics around how to apply. And I just wanted to emphasize again, those kind of 3 things that we're looking for in the applications. So that insight into a problem and the ability to demonstrate why the problem is an important one. And the ability to explain how your solution is innovative. And by that, we mean, how is it new or better or different compared to existing initiatives? And finally, why are you the person best placed to deliver this? Have you got that courage and the insight and the entrepreneurial vision to deliver this program and create fantastic, positive social change across Ireland? So if that sounds like you or someone you know, I hope that we'll see lots of applications from people who are here at the event today. And with that, I'm going to stop sharing my screen and hope that that all went to plan.
Thank you very much, Hayley. Welcome everybody to this session. It's really good to see all you here, and we have more than 100 people attending this session today. My name is Bruno, and Bruno Marcorio. I'm the community executive at SEI, and I lead the selection process for our program. So like Hayley said, I will be speaking to you a little bit more about how you go to apply for those 2 programs that she just explained to us. And then in the end of the session, I will be also in one of the sessions to give you more information or to answer any of your questions if you have some after I explain to you how to apply. So thank you very much again for joining us, and I will share my screen now so you have a little bit more information. So I hope you all can see my screen at the moment. So as you probably are aware already, the applications are open since the 24th of February, and it will be open until the 7th of April. So we normally have a 6 weeks period of the application. And for you to find out more and to know more about and where to apply, you just need to go to our website, socialentrepreneurs.ie. And as you can see on the image, you're going to see this banner with 2 buttons. So one is the find out more. So you will be able to see each one of the programs page with a lot of more information about the programs like Hayley explained. And you'll also be able to, if you click on the apply here button, that will bring you to our application platform that is called GoodGrant. And I will give you, I'll just show a little bit how it works now. So once you access our application system, if it's the first time that you are applying to one of our programs, you just need to fill out this short registration form. You're going to receive a confirmation email to confirm that you are the person trying to register for that platform. If you have applied before for one of our programs, you just need to use the same login details that you used previous years. And that's the lookalike of how the application platform will show to you. I will just give you a small demonstration of the platform. Once you are logged in, you go to this main page that it's My Applications. So that's your tab. And then the first part of it, you have a little bit more information about the application and some instruction on how to apply and what we are looking for here. And on the the second part of it, we have more information about each one of the programs. You can visit our website, like Haley told you, and you also have access to the applicant guides directly from there if you have any questions. And then you have some guidelines on how to use the form and how to input the information there. And if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to us through the applications@socialentrepreneurs.ie email. So once you go through all the information, you just need to click on that Start Application button, and that will bring you to the form. The first thing that you need to do is just to select the program that you are applying. So you're gonna have two options: the Ideas Academy or the Impact Program. You put the name of your project or organization, and then for the first time that you access it, you need to click Save and Next. After that, all the information that you input on the form will be saved automatically. So you can go through the different sessions and the different tabs. And there are two ways to do that. You can either click on Save and Next and go to the next tab, or you just click through it on the top of the page, and then you're going to see all the different questions that you need to ask for that specific program that you are applying. After you finish to complete your form, you just need to click on that Finish tab, put your initial, and then you have the option to preview your entire application. And after that, if you want, when you are ready, you just click on Submit Application, that button. I'm gonna just show you a little bit the Impact Program. It's very similar. We just have a little bit more tabs because of the nature of the program. We gather more information from you and from the project. But the process is the same. Once you are done with the form, you just put your initial and you click on Preview or Submit your application. Now I'm gonna, so if you click on Save and Close, or every time that you go back to the application, you can just access your application going through the My Applications tab again. And then if you scroll down, you just click on the name of your project, and then you are able to go back to your application. And then just to share with you as well, you have an option to download a PDF of your application once you are done with that, once you finish that. So going forward, I will explain to you how the application process works. So like I said, the application period is from the 24th of February to the 7th of April. The whole process is divided in basically three processes. So the first one is the application. The second one is a review process, and that will happen in April and May. And for that, we have a group of more than 200 people internally and externally, with some experts from different fields that will help us to go through all the different applications and select and create a short list of the project and the organization that we want to invite for the interview. So we will invite a few of them to go through the interview process. And for the Ideas Academy, that period will happen in May and June. And for the Impact Program, the interviews will happen in June and July. There is an extra interview process for the Impact Program that happens in mid-July before we are able to say the results. So the results of the whole process for the Ideas Academy, we will let people know if they have been accepted to the program by the 11th of June. And for the Impact Program, it's 1 month later because of that final piece of interview, and it's on the 14th of July. Like I said before, if you have any questions or require extra support in writing your application, please do contact us at applications@socialentrepreneurs.ie, and we will be very happy and glad to help you and guide you through that process. I'm just going to stop sharing for now, and just to to give you a little bit more tips and some information on the application and what we are looking for. So Haley said what are the three main areas that we are looking when we go through the application. And one thing to say is that once you submit your application, you are not able to edit the application anymore. But if you haven't submitted yet, you can go back to the application platform and edit as many times as you want. You don't need to write your application in one go. You can look at it in the different days and then just update the information as you go. One thing that we advise is for people to, once they have the application ready to submit, just to share that and like I show you with the PDF, and share that with some friends or some advisors or someone that you know that can help you to review your application before you submit it and can help you with that process as well. Another tip that we like to say is that it's for everybody to read very careful all the questions and just stick to what we are asking in one of the questions. So for example, I can give you an example that for both programs, we have a session that we ask about what is the problem that you are trying to solve. And we have another session that asks what is your solution, what is your idea, what's your organization is doing to try to tackle that problem. And what happens sometimes is that when people are answering to the problem, because they have the idea so strongly on their mind, they put information about the solution on the questions, on the answer that we ask about the problem. And what we ask for all the applicants to do is just to focus on the problem. Just let us know and explain what's your understanding of that specific problem. Why is that important for you to think about that specific problem? So forget about the solution and the idea in that first session when we are asking the problem, because you're going to have the opportunity to explain your idea fully on the next session of the application form. So that's one of the tips that we would like to give you. And then, like Haley said, we really want to know if you really understand the problem and if you know what's going on in the area that you are trying to tackle. The other important thing is to know if you what is the potential of your solution. So for the Ideas Academy, we know that your idea is not, it doesn't need to be perfect, it doesn't need to be fully ready, but we need to know the potential of that specific solution or idea. And the third part is just what makes you and why you are the right person to tackle that specific problem and have that solution. I'm gonna stop now, and then I'm gonna ask my colleague Sophie to explain and to give you a little bit more details about our community and some of the projects that went through both of our programs. And like I said before, I'll be on the session after to answer some of the questions that you have around the how to apply in the selection process. Thank you very much.
Thanks a million, Bruno. And thanks a million to all of you for joining us today at Social Entrepreneurs Ireland's first ever Spark session. My name is Sophie Ainscough, and I'm the Community Manager here at SEI. And sorry, Bruno, I might just ask if you mute your microphone, if that's okay. Thank you very much. My name is Sophie Ainscough, and I'm the Community Manager here at SEI. And my role is to lead and manage the community programme. The aim of the community programme is to harness the skills, knowledge and experience of the wider community to increase the impact of social entrepreneurs across Ireland. So we work with our social entrepreneurs in the community. We also work with our supporters, our contributors. It's the SEI team, it's the SEI board, and it's also wider industry experts. This unique group of people, it would be impossible to do what we do without them, and they all share a vision for an Ireland where people solve all social problems. At the heart of our community are social entrepreneurs, an ambitious group of visionary individuals who are working to solve social problems in areas such as health, housing, education, employment, and the environment, which are impacting groups in our society, such as children and young people, new and ethnic communities, people with disabilities, and older people. As an organisation, it's an absolute pleasure and a privilege to work with social entrepreneurs. And as Ciara and Hayley explained earlier, social entrepreneurs are people. They're people like you. They're people who have a unique insight into a social problem. They're people who have a new or innovative idea that hasn't been tried before, and a solution that can really impact the problem that they're trying to solve. And they're also people who have the skills, confidence, and courage to move that idea forward and to really bring the solution forward to change Ireland. That's where Social Entrepreneurs Ireland can come in to support you. As an organisation, we've supported over 375 social entrepreneurs across the years. And these social entrepreneurs have been stepping, leaping, and soaring forward to change Ireland. And today, I'll be sharing a couple of our alumni stories with you. I plan to share about 6 stories. And if you'll just bear with me one moment and make sure I can get the presentation up, this is the moment of truth. Great, so hopefully you can see that okay. And if you can't, maybe one of my colleagues might be able to just give me a shout there and let me know. So as I said, I'll be sharing 6 stories of people that we've supported so far. And we've supported people like Katrina, who became kinship carer to her 4 nieces a couple of years ago when her sister sadly passed away. Katrina didn't know the term kinship care, and she was actually surprised at the lack of supports available to this very important carer group in Irish society. Katrina took part in our Ideas Academy in 2018, and she founded Kinship Care Ireland, which offers supports, information, and advocacy to kinship families and their communities. So far, Kinship Care Ireland have supported over 70 individuals. We've supported people like Hugh and Ahmed, who while studying for their master's degree in mechanical engineering, realised they could use technology to support people to reduce their carbon footprint in the fight against climate change. They started to build Evoco, which is a mobile phone application, and they took part in our Ideas Academy in 2018. Evoco is your eco-friendly shopping assistant that helps you find the most nutritious food for the lowest environmental impact. And Evoco launched their app last year, which is available to download if anyone is interested. And we've supported people like Rosemary, who while in direct provision, noticed a lot of barriers that people were facing that was preventing them from accessing meaningful volunteering opportunities and employment opportunities. Rosemary took part in our Ideas Academy in 2019, and she founded Dignity Partnership, which is a social enterprise aimed at promoting self-employment and providing supports for people who are in direct provision or who have been in the direct provision system in Ireland. So far, Dignity Partnership has engaged with over 500 individuals, and we're delighted to say that Rosemary's here with us today, and she'll be joining the Ideas Academy Q&A session later on. However, as we explained earlier, your journey with us doesn't have to start with an idea. Sometimes it can start with a solution. And we've supported people like Austin, who while working in homeless services in Drogheda, County Louth, realised that a lot of people were experiencing a barrier to accessing employment, which in turn was preventing them from exiting homelessness. Austin, with his employer at the time, founded My Streets, and that became its own organisation a couple of years later. My Streets Ireland Homeless Walking Tours, and that aims to empower people who are homeless to become paid walking tour guides and breathes new life into places through the art of storytelling. Austin took part in our Impact programme in 2018, and so far, My Streets Ireland Homeless Walking Tours has supported and trained over 55 tour guides, which has led to some positive outcomes for some of those individuals in the areas of housing, education and employment. We've supported people like Alma, and Alma grew up on a farm and was currently living on a farm, which she became acutely aware of the farm dangers as she saw on the news one day 2 separate incidences on farms affecting children and young people. This was in 2014, which also happened to be the worst year on record in Ireland for farm safety. Alma decided to set up AgriKids, which is a farm safety education platform aiming to engage, educate and empower children to be farm safety ambassadors. And Alma took part in our impact programme in 2019. So far, AgriKids has supported over 30,000 children to become farm safety ambassadors and in turn making our farms safer. Alma is also joining us today. You will have seen her messages in the chat, and Alma will be taking part in the impact programme Q&A session later on. And we've supported people like James, who while working in community development, particularly in the crime prevention space, noticed that once people's belongings are stolen, even if they're recovered, it's often very difficult to connect the belonging back to the correct owner. James founded Property Marking Ireland in 2017, which is a community-based crime prevention initiative that supports individuals and councils to protect their property through training and technology. James took part in our impact programme in 2019, and so far, Property Marking Ireland has benefited more than 80,000 households across 13 counties in Ireland and growing. So as I said, these are just 6 stories from the 375 people that we've supported so far. And this group of individuals, all from various different backgrounds, of various different ages, solving very different social problems, they all have at least one thing in common. They're social entrepreneurs. They saw the challenge and they became the change. Today, we're calling on you all to do the same. Thank you very much.
Cool. Thank you so much, Sophie. That was great. And thank you to Bruno and Haley as well for presenting to us. Much appreciated. So we're nearly finished with our main side of the presentation, but I'm just wanted to have a few more things to say to you just before we go. So back to sharing my screen again. The first being that we just wanted to have a very quick shout out and thank you to our very kind supporter of the Spark program, which is the eBay Foundation, without which we wouldn't be able to have you all here today. So thank you to eBay, and thank you again, all of you, for joining us.